You're watching Betting Weekly Fight Life on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome to Betting Weekly Fight Life. I'm your host, Kyle Andrew, joined once again by resident fight expert Paul Hughes. Paul, we had another week off last week, and the boys and girls have flown themselves out to Australia this week.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. It feels like we're having a week off every other week now. But
it does, doesn't it?
We have some consistency now, and we have some big events. So
huge
events.
Got to
starting off with one that isn't a big event, but
well,
they start rolling in.
If we're being fair, I mean, we are watching the end of the pay-per-view era now. This is the last few months before things all move over to a different type of setup for the UFC. It's going to prove interesting, right? How will that affect matchmaking in the future? What kind of cards will we see when the pay-per-view buys are no longer a part of the equation? Hopefully not too many like this weekend, but, sometimes these cards, like what we're about to watch in Perth, Australia, sometimes they surprise you, right? Sometimes there's some bangers that you can't predict, and that's kind of the fun in the fight game, is discovering, oh geez, I didn't expect much from this, but here we are. This is not too bad. Let's hop right in. Let's start with the main event on Saturday night. Carlos Ulberg, Dominick Reyes. What are your thoughts?
It's probably winner of this gets the next title fight, I'd assume. I think it's two pretty good stories. I mean, Carlos Ulberg was a great prospect, came in UFC debut and got slept. And everyone was like, Navajo from this region of the world, the city kickboxing, a lot of overrated fighters. And then I think he's 8 wins in a row now. Just not the most. He's very smart, is what I like about Ulberg. He's not going to rush into anything, and if you rush into him, as we've seen against I think it was Alonzo Menifield, you're just going to get slept because he's a great striker. His footwork's insane. His distance control is really good, and I think overall Ulberg minus 250 makes sense. But then when you flip to the Reyes side, you have someone who looked to be on top of the world. I mean, I thought he was the world champion after 3 rounds against John Jones. I thought he won the first 3 clean. So, and then he went on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak, 4th fight, I think, 3 KO losses. And then he's won 3 in a row and he's back in the title picture. So it's a great story for him. It's good stories all around,
Yeah, I have in my notes, and we both write for the Betting Weekly newsletter. I wrote about this fight for the Betting Weekly newsletter, and something I pointed out is something you just touched on. I kind of really like the way Ulberg game plans for fights. He approaches fights. He knows what his strengths are. He likes to fight off the back foot, but he just manages things. And I get the controversy and the decision against Blachowicz, but I still think he had a good game plan against him to not let him inside and whatnot. And I really respect that. And I respect the fighter who, as you say, didn't start off so great and then made the adjustments. You can't hold an early career loss against an MMA fighter forever. It doesn't really work like that. Sometimes these guys are better off without having that 0 hanging over their head forever because they can just press forward with learning and knowledge. Same with Dominick Reyes. You can't discount where this guy has been in the fight game, but I think they're just kind of 2 trains on different tracks right now, perhaps. Reyes has everything to fight for here on Saturday night, but Ulberg has been fighting better competition lately. Maybe Reyes' recent finishing streak says something, but I don't think that finishing Anthony Smith is the same thing. It's not the same, je ne sais quoi. It just doesn't hit the same way as it used to, right? And I think maybe he's biting off a little more than he can chew.
Yeah, I think his last 3 fights have all aged pretty bad. Dominick Reyes, and when you look at it, so let's just break it down. So he finished Dustin Jacoby, who, he's went and looked okay in his next few fights, but you can tell he's down a level where he was. He's a bit slower, he's a bit clunkier, and his chin doesn't look the same. Dustin Jacoby's got some wins after, but, you can tell he's not the same fighter. Anthony Smith, gets hit once, goes in a fetal position for the last 3 years of his career, which is sad because at one point he was actually really good. Well, I don't know about really good, but he was a good level UFC fighter. But when he got to the end of it, it was, he fought for too long than he should, and Reyes kind of was just too prepared for that. And then the Krylov fight, Krylov just looks finished. When you saw him against Guskov as well, he just looked so slow and he couldn't get the grappling going as well as he used to. And then now he's coming to fight Carlos Ulberg in his prime. who's the best striker he's fought. I don't know. I think it's going to be he's Ulberg way more defensively sound than the other fighters he thought. And if you think Dominick Reyes is going to win, it's probably going to be him landing that left hand, which he hits people with all the time. I think it's what he slept Krylov with as well. But I think Ulberg's too smart and his footwork's too good to get caught out like that. So I think ultimately Ulberg has to be the bet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on this. You look down the stats of them; they're the same height, they have the same reach. They're only a year apart in age, but it doesn't seem like they're as close as those numbers would dictate here. I feel like I'm looking at a finish here. I think the hometown crowd's going to play into that. We know what Aussie crowds are like. If there was ever a group of people that are going to will their fighters to violent victories, it's the Australians. Like 1,000,000,000%. It factors in here to a huge degree. Main event, obviously these lights aren't too bright for Reyes. The guy's fought John Jones. But Ulberg's no slouch to fighting big names either. So I don't think the size of the moment plays into this for either of them. But I think ultimately everything you just said will dictate how this goes down. What is your pick for this main event?
Yeah, it's nothing too interesting. It's just Ulberg to win by KO. I think it's pretty safe, but I think that's it's going to be a lot more likely outcome than the -122. I think Reyes, again, the 3-fight streak he's on is a bit overrated. He's still got his chinny issues. I don't think he's been hit clean since he's been slept, and he went on a 3-fight KO losing streak. And I think Ulberg's a better striker than most people he's ever fought. He's an incredible athlete, and that city kickboxing gym, as we'll get onto later, that's just producing champions over the last few years. So yeah, I think Ulberg for me, he's going to finish him at one point. I think Ulberg's going to be winning pretty much all the exchanges, and Dominick Reyes is going to realize I'm going to have to close the distance at one point. And when people close the distance quick against Ulberg, as you saw against Alonzo Menifield, it doesn't really end well for them. So yeah, Ulberg by KO.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't think this goes the distance. I think he finishes this fight for certain, and I think it actually has a potential to be a pretty damn good fight because Reyes, it's not like Reyes is going to have nothing for him either. Like it's going to be a good fight, but I think this is carefully chosen as an opponent to make sure people don't question why Ulberg would be potentially getting the title fight next. You have to
Reyes
serve
is fast and powerful. So,
yes.
It's
not like he can't win
slacking
this.
For a second. Yeah, if Ulberg's slacking, if he lands that big left hand,
It's one of those ones where if he sleeps Ulberg, I'm not going to be like, whoa, how could that have happened? Because he guy's got a career resume that's impressive. All right, before we move on, if you like what you hear on our shows, sign up for our newsletter. Get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. Paul and I are both contributors to that end of the company. Let us continue to move through the fights now. Co-main event. This is interesting to me. Jimmy Crute, Ivan Erslan. What do you think here?
I don't know how Jimmy Crute can be a favorite in any UFC fight again. Honestly, unless he's fighting very ball.
A -220 favorite.
It's incredible. Jimmy Crute. Even when he came back in his win against Martin Prachnio, he looked slow and stiff and looked like a man who he retired 2 years ago because he wasn't in the right headspace for the sport, and then came back 6 months later. And then he had major injuries a couple times in his career, and he's just not the same fighter as he was on the come up. And when you see him in there, he looked like he was already gassing in the Prachnio fight. And again, Prachnio got up off bottom, and he's not someone who, he's not a great counter wrestler, and it has great escapes. Ivan Erslan, he's a much better takedown defense, and I think if Crute doesn't get him down and sub him or finish him in the first 5 minutes, I think Erslan's going to roll him. I think Erslan looked good against Navajo Stirling, who we'll get onto later on this card, but I can't believe these numbers just looking at it. I mean, all the injuries, him talking about that he crying after fights, retiring, coming back, and still not looking like any improved since all of that. And, he has one win in his last 5 fights since 2020 was his last win before his most recent one this year. So it's a long time, man. And I don't know. I think how old is he now? He's 29 and he looks in the octagon about 38. Like it's no, it's not even like a disrespectful. It's just
No, I
I don't
understand.
know.
Yeah.
It's just he doesn't look slow, big injuries, and I think he's a great grappler. I mean, I can understand why he's the favorite in this matchup. That's all I'll say. He's a very good grappler. He can get you down and sub you, and he does have power, and he is
Yeah.
got more experience than Erslan and everything else. But Erslan's kind of a good matchup here. He's got great cardio where Crute lacks, and he's got good takedown defense. And maybe Crute can crack him, or maybe he can take him down. But if he doesn't finish him in the first round, I really worry for his chances here. And I think Erslan's going to look a huge price.
Yeah, this has got as much live dog potential as I've seen in a while because of everything you just said. To me, when a fighter's talking, and I don't mean this to disrespect mental health or anything, but some of the things Crute has stated, those are major red flags when it comes to a fighter moving forward in a co-main event, retiring, unretiring. You know, for a fighter to decide when to walk away is one of the most difficult things ever. But to decide and undecide and talk about some of the things he's talked about, you know, it's tough to handicap based off that information because he could have had a complete and total mental health breakthrough, a change in things, but minus 220. Yeah, okay, you did a really good job grappling a very big and strong Alonzo Menafield. I understand that. But he's looked really bad for long stretches in a lot of fights. And I don't see it. Like the hometown crowd thing, sure, maybe, but this is tough for me. I don't mind him being the favorite per se.
I don't mind either,
but minus 220. Like you say, if he doesn't get him down early, and Erslan can't fight that off, I don't. Fighter's chance. I'm trying to
Erslan's
figure
level of
this out.
competition as well. Like when you look at Erslan's fight in the UFC, he lost the split against Cutelaba that he easily could have won, and then he lost to Navajo Stirling, who some people are writing to be like the next top contender of the sport. Like, what are we doing now? He's plus 170 against Jimmy Crute. I'm not saying Erslan's like a world beater, but
no, of course.
with what I took Crute like heavy in his last fight. I took him sub round one and cashing all those, and after the fight, I went, "Wow, I wouldn't have took that again."
Yeah, like
even though, like, do you know what I mean? Like he just did not look good at all, even though he did get the win. And if we're getting plus 170 here on Erslan, I don't think I can pass that up.
That's sort of where I'm at too. Like to me, this is like dog or stay away because I'm not seeing anything on the board there that I love for Crute as the favorite here, and I don't trust him as the favorite. Hey, come out and surprise me. I'm fine with that. But like, I just, from a bettor's point of view, this is dog or pass. Like,
yeah.
So what were you able to find for this one? Like,
I just like Erslan on the money line straight up plus 170. Yeah. I was tempted by the over, but if it goes over, I think Erslan's going to be walking him down and beating him.
Yeah,
so,
but based on what we've seen.
So I don't really see the point in taking the over 1.5 at that point. And I think Erslan can finish him if he gets later in the fight as well. Yeah. So that KO plus 300, I mean, I don't think he's going to sub him, as you can see there. But I'm just having a look there. And if you do like Jimmy Crute at all in this fight, I think just play on round one plus 245. I think that's the way to go if you like Jimmy Crute. But I don't know. If Erslan survives a round, I think he's going to... And he... You know, I think you might get a big live number on him as well. And I think that's going to be worth laying into. But that's again, I think there's a chance Crute comes out and just looks poor again. Even though he won that last time out, he didn't look great. And yeah, I think I'm happy to take the dog shot on Erslan. Good takedown defense, better boxer, and we'll see what happens.
I think so too. And also, I really like what you just said about the live potential there as well, because we expect Crute to have his best round in the first round. If Erslan's on his back foot, if he gets wrestled to the ground but is able to fight off sub attempts or whatever down there, you could get a really good number on him. And as Crute starts to fade, that could prove to be very profitable. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. Thank you for that note, Paul. Let's continue moving through. I think we're going to be going through the next few fights quickly because we've added the featured prelim to this card because itself is rather enticing. We got Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Taveras, and this is another one. You got they throw the Aussie in here, and he's the heavy favorite. But what do you expect to see?
Yeah, I was tempted at on Jack Jenkins, but as the money keeps going for him and the recent the recent fights. I mean, I think he broke his arm against Hepe Mariscal, and then in between the last few fights, I think he had a big health scare. I think I was reading or something on he was in the hospital for a bit, some scans and stuff, and I think he's a lot better than Roman Taveras, but I don't see how you can get to minus 295. Something I did like is if you wanted to take Jenkins as a bit of a lean for me was Jenkins in over 1.5. I think was like minus 140. I don't think that's bad at all. I think Jenkins is just going to be blasting low kicks, and Taveras, he got beat up by low kicks pretty bad by Davy Grant, or kicks to the arms, of the body, the legs. And Davy Grant's 39 at the time of that fight, So Jenkins a lot more athletic and strong, and he's broke 2 people's legs in his career.
Yes, that's a note.
Yeah. So I think he's gonna brutalize his legs early, and he has also the grappling upside as well. And if he grapples, he might just take the top time. So Jack Jenkins over 1.5 would be a lean, but I don't have anything official on this.
Yeah, for me, this is I'm likely to pass on this, but come fight time, I'll maybe take a look at like significant strike totals or something like that, because I think it will go a while, and I just there's something about significant strikes when you're facing a boisterous hometown crowd. I think people throw more. I think people try to lean into action a little bit, but I don't know what those numbers are right now. I don't have them up in front of me, and they can change sometimes. Anyways, I'll be looking at. Otherwise, this is a pass for me. Because I really don't know what's gonna happen. Like it's just too tricky. There's too much, like you said with Jenkins, potential health risks, or he could just snap his leg. he kick his leg in half in the first 4 minutes or something like that, because he does tend to do it, which is something we have to think. Let's just keep rolling through here. Now we have Jake Matthews versus, well, I mean, it's been a month. We might as well have Neil Magny on the card, right? Jake Matthews coming in as a very heavy favorite here.
Yeah, again, it's similar. I don't have anything official, but I think I have a pretty strong lean on, if you're liking Jake Matthews, I think you go with a sub. Honestly, I think at the same place as the KO, I think Magny's pretty grappable. I mean, who was he insta sub against? Was it Gilbert Burns? Obviously, Gilbert Burns is he's an elite level jiu-jitsu, but Jake Matthews is good, man. Like, I'm not he's not on the same level, but he's good. We've seen it in his last fight as well. I think he wrapped the back and got a choke. It was a Chidi Njokwani.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Jake Matthews, he's been in the UFC 11 years. I don't think people know that.
He looks like he's 26. He looks like he's 26. That's why.
He's 31. He's been in the UFC since he's 20. And I think he's finally peaking. He got a lot of the immaturity out of his system. When he was like, he had a clear path to victory and he just wanted to strike. And I think at this stage in his career, he knows what to do to win. Magny's obviously he's a vet. He's going to have a huge reach advantage here, but I think he's on the downslide, and I think Jake Matthews, pretty good grappler. That's the best path for him. And if he exercises that, I think plus 360 on sub can't look bad, but nothing official.
Yeah, I was having some trouble with this. I was thinking about going with, like you said, the sub, but hedging it with the finish. But the problem is, I just think this could really go the distance and be like one-sided. Like, I think it could do that. I don't necessarily think it will, but placing a bet in that regard, to me, feels a little bit scary. I don't know what you could get Jake Matthews into over 1.5 at, but I'm a little hesitant to make an official play on this myself. This is like maybe a pizza money one in the moment if I'm feeling something, if I like something on the walkouts, as you know I like to do. But Neil Magny is just one of the biggest.
Minus 159 for Matthews and over 1.5.
Yeah, that's not good enough. I don't think I would be looking in that direction for that, because it's just not enticing enough for that kind of money. I think Magny's such a wild card, is he not? Like, we don't know what version of him we're going to get. But as his career goes later and later and later, it feels more and more like I would have trouble trusting his ability to keep doing some of the things he's done in the past and some of the things he's very much not done in the past. Let's keep moving, Paul. We have got one of the Tafa brothers has to be on the card. Oh, and Louis Sutherland's photo's not loading. So I'm going to have to go ahead and fix that in post. Folks, if you're watching this, that's just Justin Tafa fighting himself on screen. Hopefully I can fix that in post. I'll do my best.
Not too different on what the fight's going to be, is it? Justin Tafa versus Justin Tafa.
There's a metaphor here that I actually do kind of love. You know what I'm going to do? If I do fix this in post, I'm going to leave it up for a second and so people understand. But it's very important to put Louis Sutherland's up because this is his UFC debut, is it not?
Yeah, it is. He's coming in here. I mean, I'm not really expecting much from him. I don't think he's great UFC level. I mean, he has a couple fights, and I think he had a fight in Bellato that he lost, and that's about it that I've seen from him. Try to get a lot. He's pushing for takedowns in some of these fights, and he's a bit of a slugger when he's on the feet. And I think it's probably going to be whoever lands a clean strike is going to knock the other one out. But I also do think if anyone's going to win a decision, it's going to be Sutherland. He might just get on top and just lie there for 15 minutes if he can, because we know the Tafa brothers literally have nothing off their back, and you could
nothing.
They're not really great.
Nothing.
They're not really good at staying on the feet either. So if he pushes that way, I'd expect Sutherland to look the side. But I think on the feet, Tafa does have a power edge there. So yeah, but that's as technical as this breakdown's going to be, and it's probably as technical as the fight's going to be as well. I don't expect it to be very high level. But
yeah, like with something like this, honestly, there's almost no chance I'm laying anything on it. I don't know. Like I'll see what I think of Sutherland. Honestly, if the UFC makes a really good promo video for Sutherland, it might convince me to bet on him. Honestly, that's the likelihood of me betting here. What I can hope though for the card, I'd like to see Justin Tafa land a KO or something just to keep the crowd hype and just for the sake of the card itself, because the Aussies, they do love the Tafa bros. Like, come on, like there's no doubt about that. So it could definitely contribute to the atmosphere of this card and whatnot. But you have no official play on this one, Paul?
Yeah, it's just another pass. I mean, I don't know where to go. I think if you made me have a pick, it might just be Sutherland, just because I think he has the grappling upside. But Tafa KO as well. Who knows, man? Just one of the two. Throw a dart.
We will absolutely be messaging, texting during this one too, because I'm just like, this one's literally the hands up emoji for me. Going, I don't know what's gonna happen here. Something weird, probably. I do there's potential fireworks because of the debut
as well.
Yeah. They go. Here's what I predict is going to happen. They're both going to come out headhunting in the first round because Sutherland's making his debut, Tafa's on home soil, and then they're just going to breathe on each other for the next 2 rounds. They're just going to lay down and have a nap for the last 2 rounds, and there'll be absolutely nothing left in the tank. Let's just keep rolling here. Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. The battle of the very, very tanned guys.
As evident as ever on those photos. But no, I think this is going to be pretty clearly the fight of the night. If I had to get told to pick one, I think this one. I mean, this is going to be a striking war. No matter how you cut, that's what's going to be. They're both going to engage in the striking the feet, and I have a lean on Charlie Campbell. Nothing official once again. I know it's been a theme in the last few fights, but Charlie Campbell plus 125. I had to pick something, or maybe by the KO, but Tom Nolan's been dropped in a few fights, and Charlie Campbell dropped Chris Duncan 3 times in the Contender Series and hurt him bad a lot. And Chris Duncan, as we saw, he just beat Mateus Rebecca. He's high level. So as much as we want to cut it, I mean, Charlie Campbell, I think he hasn't done much wrong in his career. I think he's pretty solid. But then once again, Tom Nolan's also a good striker, good power. I think Charlie Campbell's chin's a bit suspect as well if Tom Nolan lands clean, but I think this is going to be a war until eventually someone gets slapped. So yeah, it should be a fun one.
Yeah, I don't have. Sorry, you said you have no official play on this one. I'm going to put that up now. Yeah. But okay, so I don't either at this moment, but I'm definitely going to do something because I like betting on the first fight of a card. And I'll say this for the matchmakers. You could argue that this should be higher up the card, but this is also an excellent way to begin a main card. It's going to be a good action fight. It's going to be technically proficient. It's going to be the type of fight that a lot of casuals would probably enjoy. And now that I've said all that, it's maybe going to be a snooze fest, right? Because you hype it up in that way. I don't think so either. I just don't look at how even these odds are. Look at the finish odds. Like they're back and forth here. It's all very similar, right? Tough time deciding what the length of the fight could be, but it can go to decision, or one of these guys can get slept. I think if anyone gets slept, it would probably be Nolan for the reasons you mentioned. But this is a high-level fight, and this should be very interesting. And don't miss this one, folks. I'll say that much. I don't have a lean yet. Okay, I shouldn't say that. Charlie Campbell's also my lean, but I have not played anything official as of right now because of all of the reasons you stated, Paul. And in a rarity for us, we're going to include the featured prelim on the night because it's a pretty tempting fight itself. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, Paul. We have Navajo Stirling versus Rodolfo Bellato. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think Navajo Sterling's really good. And I think he's been looking for that big KO, and he's hurt both his opponents pretty badly in his fights. He hasn't got the finish when I think both of them could have easily been stopped. But yeah, I think Navajo Stirling, he's got the perfect dance partner on the feet with Bellato, who gets hurt and looks on the verge of death every time he fights, honestly. He gets hurt, he gets dropped. That Paul Craig fight was one of the most insane things I've ever seen in the sport, where he just took, I don't know what it was. Did he take a dive because he was having a competitive fight with Paul Craig? Did he actually hurt?
It was
I have
weird.
No idea.
That was the up kick, right? It was just very, very strange. Is he being punished for that right now?
I think so.
I think so too. I think so too. And maybe he should be, to be honest with you, because it was a very, very strange thing to witness.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, with the City Kickboxing, it's where Stirling trains out of. Great kickboxing gym. He's elite on the feet, and there's, as I said, he keeps hurting his opponents in the last few fights. He hasn't found the KO yet, but I think that's why we are getting plus 130. I think it's a pretty generous price because Bellato does get hurt pretty badly in all his fights. He got KO'd twice in the regional scene, both by Vitor Petrino now, but I think Sterling's a cleaner striker than Petrino. I think he manages, again, same thing with the City Kickboxing guys. They manage distance well. They have good footwork, and they know when to trade. And Bellato, as I said, hurting every one of his fights. And I think Sterling's going to want to come out here, put on a statement. As we said, there's a theme here, putting it in front of the crowd. He's from New Zealand, obviously. It is in Perth, but
they treat them the same.
They all love each other like that. So 7-0. I think he's going to be 8-0, and I think we're going to be looking at someone who's going to be in the rankings very soon on Stirling, where I don't think Bellato's up to that level.
I have literally no arguments for you. I'm looking, folks, don't miss this fight because you're watching someone that, in Stirling, I think this is maybe the last time you see him on the prelims sort of thing. I feel like he's that level. It was your request to me, actually, that we cover this fight as well, too, and I think it's a great request. If you're at home watching this one, do not miss this fight because you're watching someone that I think will put on a good performance. Do you have an official play on this one? You obviously do.
Yeah, just Navajo Stirling by KO again, plus 130. Oh, it says minus 130.
But it's 130.
It's plus 130, as you can see on the screen. It's plus 130. I bet if it gets the minus 130, I'd be shocked. But
I would still take it, to be honest with you. 130 is fine for me because this might be a 2-unit pick for me, to be honest with you. So I'm looking. I'll be cheering for him to get it because I would like to see Navajo Stirling move up through the rankings. I would like to see him as a player here. We just see so much great action out of City Kickboxing all the time, and there's a reason for that, right? They game plan well. They have a very good environment for the fighters. You see them; they're all positive people. They're always in good moods, and I think that has an effect on someone's ability to go out and do this for a living. So, Paul, before we get going, do you want to quickly recap your plays on this card?
Yeah, we got picks in the co-main and the main event. So we got Ulberg to win by KO in the main event, and we got Erslan as the underdog in the co-main. And then on the featured prelim, we have Navajo Stirling by KO. So we just have the 3 picks on the night.
Excellent, and we will obviously be back next week as we start getting to the meat of this fall season. A lot of great cards, a lot of great individual fights coming up in the near future, folks. Stay tuned for that. On behalf of Paul Hughes, my name is Kyle Andrew. You've once again watched Fight Life on Betting Weekly Studios, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Almost forgot to add that part.
Thanks for watching Betting Weekly Fight Life on the Bet Rivers Network.